Hi everybody, today I'm doing a slightly different video on my channel, and that is talking about storage. I love watching storage videos and makeup collection videos and seeing how people store their makeup. So today I thought I'd share a little bit about how I store mine, just because I think I do it in quite an economic way, not just thinking about the space that I'm working in, but also thinking about how I actually store my collection. And I thought I'd share some of my tips with you today. So let's get right into it. Tip 1. Don't stack. So as you can see in this drawer, there is some stacking, but it is completely organised. So here are some primers that won't stand up. I know what I have in here, and then everything else is in these two containers. They were £1 for both of these containers from the Poundland even. One is wide and one is slimmer. Basically all of my primers are all in this side, and like my strobe cream and things like that, but everything is kind of organised. So the tubes are here, and then anything that can stand up is at the back. And then over here are mainly foundations, so a lot of foundations, and my Chanel, got my Fenty Match sticks there, and then underneath here are my Coty Airspun powders. This is kind of an example of stacking, but organised stacking. So over here what I've got is actually just this mini, it's meant for cutlery, so it's like a mini cutlery storage. I actually got this off eBay. I thought it was larger than it was going to be when it arrived, but it's quite small. But this is basically my pigments drawer. So in here I have, well, these are the paint pots. So I've got paint pots, I've got some pigments from MAC, glitters. These are my favourite pigments, or ones that I'm kind of intending to use a bit more. And then this just lifts out, and then underneath are the rest of my pigments. So I have them organised in here, like I've got blues and greens, purples, these are glitters, these are my crushed metallic pigments, which are in the different containers. And so you can layer things, but it's not just like throwing a load of stuff in on top of each other that you'd have to search through. It's just about finding ways that you can layer product storage but still make it accessible to every product that's in the drawer. Tip 2. Cycle your collection. This tip is about the movement of your makeup collection. So not just always having your makeup all stored in a particular way, but actually moving things around a little bit. So if you have all of your palettes stacked together, and like I have mine and it looks like a library, they're all kind of stacked on their sides, then just every now and then just shift them around a little bit so that you're not feeling like you're constantly reaching for the same section, or that you're constantly just kind of out of easiness, just kind of grabbing from the same area. If you move your palettes around and kind of cycle them around to make sure you're getting the best use out of your collection, not only will you use your collection, but it'll also make you try out new looks, and it'll make you be a bit more creative in your overall makeup application. So trying lots of different eye looks, using lots of different colours, and really if you have a large collection, just getting the best out of your makeup, because you don't want it to sit and waste without being used. I never use the same palette 2 days in a row. I just do. It's not that I make it a rule and I make that point to do that, it's just that I really just enjoy using different palettes and trying new colours and doing something different every day. So that's one of my top tips, and that is to cycle your makeup collection. Tip 3. Be original. My next tip, I would say, is to be original. So it's very tempting to watch a lot of people on YouTube and go all out for the acrylic storage, storage that's specifically to store particular items in. Those can run very expensive and they don't necessarily reflect you. I love all that storage, I love to watch makeup collections, I love to see it all clean and white and acrylic, but that's not me. So I'd say kind of be original. Shop around for your storage options. As you can see on my desk, I thought this was probably the best place to show you, I have lots of different ways of storing things. So up here, this ghost here, this is actually a little tea light holder from Poundland, and it's amazing because basically it's got this big open mouth and a nice storage space inside. My pencil sharpeners are in there. I know exactly where they are. I don't have to hunt around for them. They're in there. So that is one thing. Another thing is I have this tin. This was a gift tin that had actually underwear in. I bought my husband some Playboy boxer shorts, and it came in this absolutely amazing tin. and it has a different design on each side. So kind of more high street sort of palettes in there. So yeah, I don't have a lot of Revolution palettes, but what I do have is in that tin, and it's just quite useful to just have that one tin that has that, because I know exactly where to go for what I'm looking for. Tattoo brows. In here I have a Revolution one, and yeah, I have this one which is from B Cosmetics, so I have them. And yeah, all sort of a couple of paint pots. I have Painterly, I have the black one, I can't remember its name off the top of my head. I have this grey toned one, and that's another one of the Revolution pigment pomades. I have them in nude, white and black, and aqua colour. So they just sit really nicely there. I know exactly where they are. Those are just products that I use a lot that I can put to one side. This is a sunglasses case. So basically I just have my glitter collection in there. I don't use it loads, so that's kind of why it's tucked there, but I know where everything is. And then other things that I have that I think are useful. This acrylic nail polish stand holds lipsticks perfectly. You can get a lot of lipsticks in one of these stands, as you can see, and it just keeps them up there on display. I know exactly pretty much what's there. And I do have a couple of the larger ones which are back here, which are for the rest of my collection, and I just cycle those out, go through them and then change them over and kind of keep updating that section. Another thing I have here, this is a jar. And this is actually something that was from Asda. It had in a caramel sauce that you put on ice cream. I know, yes, okay, so the top of it looks like it is a jar without a lid, but it's perfect to put these pens in because there are quite a few of them. They're very chunky, and because it's a broad jar, everything fits in there, and I know I can get straight to them. That's what you'll notice about my collection, is that a lot of it is out. I don't have a huge amount in drawers, and that's because if it was all in drawers, I just wouldn't reach for it. If it's on display, I know it's there. Everything's in its own little sections. I'm just like this little thing here. It's probably a tea light holder. This was 50p in a charity shop, and that's got my lip items in. There's decoration on this desk which does nothing. This benefit tin that my husband got at a charity shop, which I love. It's just decorative. There's a lot of decorative items on the desk. But I like it. And then over here we have this glass tray. I got this at a charity shop. This is so useful. Basically what I have in this one is I have the paint pots that I regularly use. I have a Topshop eyeshadow. I have some of the Revolution, these are the Pro Pigment pomades. Pro Pigment pomades, I have a couple of those ones. Then I have some brow creams in here. I have two of the Maybelline. Another thing I have here, this is a jar, and this is actually something that was from Asda. It had in a caramel sauce that you put on ice cream. I know, yes, okay, so the top of it looks like it is a jar without a lid, but it's perfect to put these pens in because there are quite a few of them. They're very chunky, and because it's a broad jar, everything fits in there, and I know I can get straight to them. That's what you'll notice about my collection, is that a lot of it is out. I don't have a huge amount in drawers, and that's because if it was all in drawers, I just wouldn't reach for it. If it's on display, I know it's there. Everything's in its own little sections. I'm just like this little thing here. It's probably a tea light holder. There's decoration on this desk which does nothing. This benefit tin that my husband got at a charity shop, which I love. It's just decorative. There's a lot of decorative items on the desk, but I like it. And then over here we have this glass tray. I got this at a charity shop. This is so useful. Basically what I have in this one is I have the paint pots that I regularly use. I have a Topshop eyeshadow. I have some of the Revolution, these are the Pro Pigment pomades. Pro Pigment pomades, I have a couple of those ones. Then I have some brow creams in here. I have two of the Maybelline. Right here, another kind of thing that is original, and it's very much kind of me. Rather than just being very generic and clear, I really like that my makeup collection is stored in things that make me happy. Tweezers and like little glitter applicators are in this little glass boot that I got in a charity shop. I have this cup my daughter bought me, which is the apple from Snow White. This was from Target in America. I have this which just says Black Cat on it. I absolutely love this. I found this in a charity shop for £1, and this just has some of my important things in. It just has like my tools, so like depotters and like little scoops for pigments and things, and then it has my favourite, it has a nice flat brush, but it has my favourite eyebrow brush, which is the 222 from Zoeva. I think I need to get a new one of those. I have these two glosses which were TK Maxx, which I really love. They're super pretty and they just look nice with those more decorative brushes in. A cup my daughter bought me. It's got different evil queens on it, or different villains, and I have Ursula on display at the moment. Then I have a cup my husband bought me from the Disney shop. I absolutely love it. I love Ariel, hence my red hair. And then this is a 50p glass from a charity shop. This is actually raised on it. It's really beautiful. I think that these things you can pick up at charity shops are unique, and there's something that you love. And again over here I just have a couple of things. You know, these are quite original too. I got this reduced somewhere because there's a slight chip at the back of it. So just really basically unique ways to store makeup. I do have some acrylic pieces down here which are from TK Maxx, which were around £6, so if you can find things like really cheap, these are amazing. Or lipsticks, which I have all of my Colourpop collection in. But things like this down here, which has all my setting sprays in. Just a little cheap plastic basket from Poundland, and it's perfect for all the sprays. This one was from Tiger, which has 2 layers. That's my highlighter collection. So yes, lots of different unique storage ways. And this from a charity shop. I love it. Tip 4. Keep it clean. So this one's pretty simple. Just look after your makeup. I know that that sounds like really like condescending and look after your makeup, but just look after it. Just keep it clean, keep your area clean. Because you're putting all these things on your face, you really want to keep your area nice and clean. Give it a wipe down every day after you've used it, just to make sure that you've got no kind of bacteria or things or makeup that can kind of spoil if left out on the counter. Just cleaning everything down. You don't have to make a huge big deal out of it. I actually use baby wipes. These are Huggies ones. I love them. They've got Mickey Mouse on. I actually got these from the pound shop. I get all of my baby wipes at the pound shop. The only wipes I don't get there are my water wipes, which I actually use on my face as part of my makeup removal. But everything else, just pound shop. Or occasionally if Superdrug has them on offer, I'll get them there. But I really do like the Huggies ones, and particularly I do like Huggies and Johnson's, just because they have, I feel, more moisture content in them. I did get some that were from Poundland. It was a really nice big pack. I was like quite excited, but they just weren't as moist as I'd like them to be. And I wipe brushes off on these, I wipe my surfaces down, I wipe the foundation off the back of my hand and swatches, because sometimes I swatch before I apply to kind of decide which colours I'm wearing. So I really like a nice, good, strong, thick and moist wipe to use. So just keeping it clean and making sure that you have some wipes in your collection somewhere, I think that's a really great tip. Tip 5. Keep it tidy. Another tip is to keep things tidy, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but I just think there's nothing more off-putting than something that's really messy and lots of things all scattered everywhere. So just keeping on top of and remembering to put things away, and just keeping those surfaces nice and tidy, because the next time that you sit down, you'll feel so much better sitting down to a surface where there's not already loads of clutter there. So I keep all of the areas that I use tidy. This is the desk. This is the vanity where I actually put my makeup on, and then I have this surface here. I always keep this very clean and tidy because this is where the most part of my palette collection is. So it's important that I'm able to access that here, and those just open like that. And to give you a little overview in there, it's all palettes along the bottom with a few other things stored in there. Up on the second shelf I've got another Halloween thing, which is actually just full of my sponges. I got that from TK Maxx in the sale. Little charity shop thing that's got some sort of high street highlighters in that I like. That's another charity shop thing. Not entirely sure what that's for, but it stores my Spectrum brushes nicely. Lots of other little pieces of glass, again all charity shop, some more palettes. And then the top layer is completely palettes, but again more charity shop sort of things. I sometimes have a beauty blender in there. If I've used one and it's sturdy and I know I've used it, I'll pop them in there, and then I know that it's been used. And yeah, little teacups, little decorations up top, but that's where most of my palettes actually live. These are the ones I use all the time, and I do tend to cycle these, so move them around, put them in different areas, just so that I'm not constantly reaching for the same thing, which I never do anyway, but it's just good to kind of do that anyway and just kind of keep on top of that. Tip 6, be brutal. This one really relates to really being brutal with your collection. So going through your collection and taking out things that are no good anymore, that may have gone off, that are mouldy, or that you've had for a long time, or items that you're not using as much. I had some really nice palettes that I just wasn't using and I sold them to make money. I am constantly selling makeup that I'm not using, because there's no point in it just sitting there not doing anything when somebody else can use it. So I've just sold a massive amount of Colourpop, and it's really great to get that out of my collection. It created more space, but also I just wasn't using it, so it's makeup that could go off and that would be a waste, whereas now I got the money and that's great. So I would say just be brutal. Some things that we do tend to keep sometimes for sentimental reasons. Now I do have a couple of those things in my collection. I do have a couple that are up on the shelf that are just really nice to display, but the other things that I had for sentimental reasons, a couple of Urban Decay palettes, I've actually just retired into a drawer in the drawers behind me. I don't have it in my general makeup collection. I just feel like things that I'm no longer using and they're there because I'm sentimental about them, they're better put somewhere else and not a part of your usable makeup collection. So I would just say be brutal. Take out the things that you're not using, sell things if you can. I used to sell on Depop, but I currently just really sell on eBay, and I sell a little bit on Facebook also. I'm selling quite a bit of MAC makeup at the moment, just lipsticks and things, but I can link or tell you my eBay information if anybody is interested, or I can do like a little makeup sale video on here if anybody would be interested in that, buying from me. I have actually done that before, it was really successful. I would actually just have a standard recorded delivery postage on like a certain price, and that would just alter if you were to buy a number of different items, and that would be paid via PayPal, family and friends. And this is turning into an advert, but that would just be done that way and you would get your tracking number. So if anybody is interested in that, please do let me know in the comments below. But I would just say be brutal with your collection and just keep the things that you need. If there's something missing from your collection, go and get it. If you enjoy collecting something, don't feel that you shouldn't do that. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes and lipsticks, and those two are my things that I'm most passionate about in my collection, and I don't feel guilty about it. So there you go. Be brutal. Tip 7. Use storage inside of storage. I'll show you a couple of examples of that. So in here I've got this little plastic acrylic container. I think I got this for £1 from TK Maxx. If you go in TK Maxx in the sales section, they often have some of these acrylic pieces. This was just a perfect size really to put my bronzer collection in. And then here is a large box. I believe that was actually a Latest in Beauty one. And I organise my powders in this one. And in here I also have Benefit blushes and some Urban Decay blushes. But this is really my powder collection in there. So that keeps them things separate from each other, not rolling around into each other. I can still find everything. And then in here, which are my MAC powders, in here I've got this is a larger why can I never think of the name? That's a larger cutlery storage, so it's actually got 4 sections. So I've got powders going up this way, and then these. I could actually turn these around and flip them the other way, but they actually fit better that way. And these are perfect for large powders because everything can stand up really nicely, particularly if you've got a larger collection like this. Believe it or not, this is actually downsized. I've sold quite a bit lately, but yes, that's them. If anybody ever wants to see a video on any part of my collection, please comment. At the back, I then have a couple of empty boxes. So this one's got all of my ×9 and my little mini eyeshadow palettes in here. Then in this little box, I've got eyeshadows, so single ones from MAC. And then over here are my casual colours, and then I've got a powder with Dr. Facilier in from the Villains collection. And then down the side, I've even utilised that space for some other powder. So this is all MAC in here. This is my MAC drawer. But my most used ones are all down the front. So my blotting powder, I use that a lot. My powder foundations. Then I have my mineralized skin finish, and that's another sort of skin finish. And then these are highlighters that I really like. And yeah, so these are very used, and as are these ones here. I've got Patrick's powder in here, silver dusk highlighter. So my most used are in the first two sections, because then I can just pull the drawer out just a little and I've got access. But I do tend to cycle that around so that I am using some of the stuff back there. But I am very aware of the things that are back there, and I do make an attempt to use them. Over in this drawer again, I've got an acrylic storage down the side. I got this from TK Maxx, and I think that was £4, and it goes all the way back. So I have concealers in the front, my most used and my lesser used ones, and then these are my blush collection on this side. And that's what that looks like. And again, you've seen this drawer already, but we have a little storage, a little cutlery container in here, and then underneath everything is in boxes. Glossy boxes are really great tools as well to use. I have a glossy box up here which has some eyeshadow palettes in that I don't use a lot, and just things like that. Over here is a little cabinet which I actually got when my workplace was closing down, and this is just little drawers, and that's where my Colourpop eyeshadow collection is. I'm able to have them all flat. I can see what I've got. So that is everything in there. And then like I said, I have different storage things over here. It's no good putting everything in a drawer and then it all kind of rolling around. I don't like that disorganisation. I know that I can go in here, they're here, they're not going to roll around anywhere else. I'm not going to have to hunt around for them. They're here. So that's that tip. Tip 8. Shop for your collection. Okay, so I would say this one for me is really about shopping for things that are missing from your collection. So not specifically going and thinking, oh, I'm just going to buy this palette because I really love it. Do that also, but also if there's something that you really want in your collection, then check out YouTube, Google it, look for those particular colours that you can get into your collection if you feel that you would really like to use those colours. I really wanted a really nice navy blue. I've only ever had one which was in the Lorac, I think it was the Pro 2 palette, but I hadn't, other than that, had a really nice deep navy blue that I loved. And then I came across the one in the Kat Von D Fetish palette, and I now actually have a one in two in Jeffree Star palettes. So I'm really happy that I found that, but that was definitely a gap in my collection that I didn't have. And I think if you have a gap in your collection, it's really good to kind of go out of your way to check that. And I know it's kind of not storage related, but this could relate to storage in that you want to pick storage that meets your collection. So how you're storing it, are you storing it in a desk? Is it going in Alex drawers a lot of people use? What kind of storage have you got? And just kind of finding things that fit inside that. And that's just, I feel like the best way. Like you can see inside my desk, I do have the cutlery containers, the cutlery storage drawers, and they work really well for me in the depth of my drawers and for the things that I'm storing in them. So it's really about finding storage solutions that meet your needs, but not just meet your needs, but meet your budget. And you can keep them original to you. It doesn't all have to be very plain and acrylic. You've seen my collection, it's pretty wild. I mean, you know, these are my NYX Off Tropic eyeliners, and they're in Rex. But I love Rex, he's my favourite character from Toy Story. And yes, just one of my favourite Disney characters. I love Rex so much. So it's just, you can store things in an original way, and you shouldn't have to feel like you have to be the same as like everybody else and just have a very basic collection and just keep to the acrylic storage. Be original to you and pick things that really reflect you and make you happy. When I sit and look at my makeup vanity with all those cups and different glasses and all those colourful things, it makes me happy when I sit down to do my makeup. So that is tip number 8. Tip 9. Make the most of your space. Okay, so this one is about space. This is quite a small room, really. It's very difficult to show, and there is a lot in it. So there's a window there, which I've now put a new bookcase up in the window. But it's not a huge amount of space in here. I used to have the desk on this wall over here. But when people were trying to get past and you're sitting at your desk, it just kind of stuck out. So then we decided to put the desk on this side of the room. And we created kind of a wall almost, because there is no wall there. But because we've created this kind of wall of furniture, it almost makes this like its own little room. which I like because it makes it feel really cozy. So on top of here, this is what's called, it used to be called a baby bookcase. I will link it in the information bar below for you. When I got that was $11.99 and they're now $17.99. The great thing about them is they're not too deep. I hope that you can kind of see that. I mean, they're deep enough that if you can see like a palette, you can actually, they're quite deep really, but they're not overly deep, so that when you put them on a surface they don't take up too much space, but it gives you all this volume of storage, and that's really great if you have a small space. They're a fantastic space saver, which is something that I needed to consider in this space because it's not huge. That's that. This other thing, they don't sell this anymore, so I'm really sorry, but I got this particular piece of furniture because, again, it's not an overly deep piece of furniture. Hopefully you can kind of see. It's not too deep. So I knew that I could put that in the centre of the space, because I have my desk here and then I have these IKEA, what used to be called Expedites, but I think they've renamed them. So I had that here and the desk opposite. And I had something larger in the middle, and it just kind of pulled out into the middle space and made the room feel a bit more cluttered. There was less space to move around. This is what it looks like. This cabinet is great. It has so much storage space. Like I said, it's not very deep, but you have these open spaces on either side, which are amazing because these are things that I can reach for. Highlighters on that side, setting sprays, lip products, and then I have sleek palettes at the bottom and eyelashes. At the bottom over here are random lipsticks I don't use so much. Then Colourpop ordinary lippy sticks. Then that's the start of my Colourpop liquid lip collection. On the next section we have highlighters here, and then my contour palettes there, and then on the top section again these are Colourpop liquid lipsticks, and it's deep enough that you can actually get a decent amount in there. And then it has this door in the middle, which just makes things look so tidy. I could have put a baby bookcase there and that would have been fine. Probably similar sort of depth but not as high. But this is higher, so it makes it better as a vanity unit. Inside you can see I've used glossy boxes for storage in here. So I have skincare up the top, hand creams, hand sanitizers, things like that. The second one, I have some facial sprays, baby wipes, headbands in that one, which is another glossy box. And then coming down we have another container. That was, I believe, IKEA and very cheap. That's got my cloths and my brush cleaning stuff in, and then some random makeup I don't use so much at the bottom. But that's just nice because those are things that I don't necessarily want on display, but I use. I use the headbands, the facial sprays, the brush cleaning and the skincare every day. I just don't necessarily want it out. And that enables me to shut the door on it. And the great thing with glossy boxes is you can just pull that forward. See, now with a shelf, if I just pushed all that in there, I'd have to be rifling around everything, but with a glossy box I can pull it out, and it just makes it easier when you've got a number of things in there to be able to access everything. I know that that's deeper and so is the desk, but down here you can see there's actually quite a lot of floor space here. So it creates this kind of U-shaped sort of island where I kind of sit here in the middle of it, put my makeup on here, I can reach across to this side, I can reach across to this side, and it just makes everything so accessible. Tip 10. Don't have an everyday drawer. Okay, so this is one that isn't for everybody because I know some people like this particular thing, and I'm not saying that it's a negative thing. If this is your thing and it works for you, then great. But for me, I don't have an everyday drawer. I don't have a drawer that has my favourites, so my favourite eyeshadow, my favourite foundation, my favourite this, that or the other. I don't believe in that because I feel that it's easy to kind of fall into just going to that drawer and just using the things from that drawer, and then the rest of your collection is getting neglected. You could do that and then cycle things in and out of that drawer, but for me, I just think that the best thing is just not to have it. Because if you think, right, what am I wearing today, and then you think, right, I need a foundation, go into your foundation drawer, you're more likely to then perhaps not go for just that one foundation and pick something else from your drawer instead. So for me, that's something that works for me. I don't like having a particular, these are my favourite things type things, and yeah, that is another top tip. Now I have some bonus tips for you. Something that works for me is having things out on display. So you've seen a little overview of my room at the beginning. I have all of my makeup very organised into sections. I know where my lipsticks are, I know where my Colourpop lip liners are in these, and I have things very organised and everything pretty much is out on display. There's very little of my makeup that actually is in the drawers, but I have my base products, my primers, bronzers, blushes, concealers, eye pigments and all my MAC face powders. They live in the drawers. Everything else is out. It's out on display, I can see it all, it's all there, and I really, really like that because I feel like that just makes me more likely to be creative and more likely to reach for things, and then I know what's in my collection. If I had Alex drawers, this is just a personal thing, if I had those IKEA drawers, everything would be in those drawers and I wouldn't be looking in them every day, so I think that I wouldn't get a great deal of use out of my collection. So having the baby bookshelves and the dresser over there, having things that are out, yes, okay, so it's all on display, and that might not be everybody's thing. I know a lot of people like clean surfaces, but if it's out, you can see it. And for me, when I sit down, I sit and think, right, what am I doing today? And then I look around and I think about what I want to do. Sometimes I have an idea before I sit down, but I just think it's really great to kind of have things organised this way because I know, right, my brow products over there, there are my eye stick bases, and I know where everything is and I can reach for it. And I don't have to search through drawers because that would annoy me, if I'm entirely honest. Here are a couple of other bonus tips. I'll try and keep as brief as possible because this is probably quite a long video now. But one thing that I would say is if you buy something new, have maybe a little container if you like, to keep your new products in, and just put them, say like an empty glossy box is a great thing. I really believe in recycling, so using really nice empty boxes. I've got a couple of empty purse boxes, there's a couple of other boxes in there from ASOS that had jewellery in it. I use lots of different boxes that are sturdy and colourful and look quite pretty, and I use them within my drawers to organise my collection. Just find a nice little box that you like the look of, and if you buy new makeup, put your new makeup in that box, pop it over to one side, and then when you do your makeup you can be like, right, what have I got new to try? And you can try your new products before you then integrate them into your collection, because otherwise sometimes we can buy new things and be really excited about them, but then we put them in our collection and we can neglect them and forget that they're there and forget to try them. The other thing that I kind of do as well, or I used to when I was buying Colourpop liquid lipsticks, I haven't for quite some time. Not because I don't love them, but just for budgetary reasons really, and kind of shipping them here. But I have a separate section in the little storage containers, which you've also seen in this video. And in one section I would put my new liquid lipsticks as they came in. Then as I tried them on, then I would filter them out into the proper colours, because I actually section them off in colours. I'm going to show you that actually, because that makes sense. So these are just one of mine, I've got 3 of these, but I do section them up into different colours. That way I can kind of go, oh, today I'm going to wear a red, or I'm going to wear like a dusky pink colour, and then I can just go straight to the section in here and kind of go through those and pick out which one I want, kind of like, oh, do I want this one, do I want this one? So that's what I like to do. So that's just something I would say, organise it. Organise them by colour really helps sometimes, just having those kind of organised that way. Particularly with liquid lipsticks, because if you get a large collection then it can just get overwhelming. My largest collection of liquid lipsticks is Colourpop. I think they're absolutely amazing, but definitely organising them that way just makes it so much quicker. You don't want to have to go through a massive drawer of lipsticks, so sectioning things as well is just really helpful. So that's another kind of tip that I would say. But definitely keep new makeup separate. Separate your colours if you have large collections of things. Recycle old boxes that can be used to section off your drawers so that things aren't rolling around and mixing together. So that's it for today's video, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed it. It's something a little bit different for me. I really, as you can see, have a crazy makeup setup. But that's me. This is my style. I absolutely know 99.9% of people, this is not their style, so it's unique to me. I have a lot of clutter type items in my collection. They just make me happy. When I come in here and sit down to do makeup, or come and sit in here and relax while I'm running the bath, because the bathroom is here, I just really enjoy sitting in this space, just looking at, you know, the things that I love, looking at my horror collection, looking at my Disney things, and just really enjoying the space. So you should really enjoy the space that you are putting your makeup on. in, because putting makeup on can be such a relaxing experience. Just feels quite nice to create and pull together this look. So that's it for today's video, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and share this video so that other people can see it and come and join our lovely YouTube family. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, that would be great. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Let me know any storage tips you have, because I'm always willing to try new things, and anything that you think I could add into my collection, or you know, anything that you think that you could add or we could have a chat about in the comments. I'd love to do that too. And don't forget to subscribe, because the more the merrier. And if you want to see more videos like this, or you want to see any collection videos, then please do let me know in the comments as well, and I will film those in the future. So that's it for today, guys. I'm going to love and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!